You know, one of the hardest possible things for myself personally to swallow in life, and that's hypocrisy. Let's talk about it. By the way, thanks, Potter, for the hat. I'm wearing this for a dear friend of mine that gave it to me. Anyway, hypocrisy. Why is hypocrisy so tough? And when does hypocrisy most become, or most does it most present itself? Usually, it's a bunch of older politicians that say that their way is still the right way, and that everyone else's way is the wrong way, and then they start calling out things that this new generation wants to do, and they say, "Oh, well, they do this and do that," and then you realize that they do the same thing just earlier in the day that you do. It's like, does this make any sense? So there's a lot of examples of this, but what are some hypocrisy? Like our current regime and the files that were just released. Oh, it's a bad dude, but yet you did it. Personally dealing with something similar. People don't like the newer generation that are trying to bring objectiveness and diversity and open-mindedness and equality, and equal sharing and a passion. It's the old group like, no, we just wanted our secluded cliquish way. And then they go to the powers to be, oh, this guy does this, or they do this at night when they work their asses off all day. But you do it in the mornings, like all day long. Anyway, so these are some of the things of hypocrisy, and usually how hypocrisy comes upon itself is the current regime tries to make the upcoming ultimately there's no reversing it. I mean, the old politicians must go away. It's a matter of time and tide. Like, it's biologically feasible. But sometimes these old regimes, they'd rather see the country or the club just crash and burn, just sink to the bottom of the earth, because if it's not their way, it's the highway. And unfortunately, you can look around you, and that's a big problem with the United States at this point in time. We just had an election in New York City, a mayor. I'm not from New York, nor do I particularly care. But if you kind of read or read what some of these people are quoting, it was just like we were so tired of the old regime and the hypocrisy. Like, hey, we'll change it. And then ultimately it's just equally as corrupt. The world is changing rapidly. The world is changing so rapidly you can't even fathom it. There was a big story in the newspaper when I was a kid. I'm 48, 5 kids. Believe me, worked my ass off. There was a story in the newspaper like once every Saturday or once every monthly Saturday. Now there's a story every 10 seconds. And unfortunately, these older generations, the only thing they can reach out upon is hypocrisy and cutting people down, when ultimately, if they just relax, they would see things proliferate. But instead, the older regimes tend to hang on. But, people are waking up to this. They really are. So keep on trying. Hypocrites, they get their due.